Hi everybody, I am back with a few more lessons from isolation. The last video was about the magical patio door setup, and for this one I thought we would talk about, sorry I have to look at something Minecraft related, very good. We're gonna talk about something more tabletop or countertop. So for those of us with old bones, good stuff. We don't have to be on the floor. So right now, I'm just gonna pause this and flip it around so I can show you why I'm choosing the spot I'm choosing. Okay, this is my living room. This is my Minecrafter. Hi, buddy. You can see I've got a few shave bowls out. I thought I would photograph those today. So as I walk around this room, I'm looking at, this bench is always a really great spot to do photos. I'm looking for that same sort of side lit, look at the shadow over here, the nice light over there. I could clear that bench off and shoot there. Look at the texture in this guy. Like you can just see everything so nicely. And with everything off of this, I'd get a fairly neutral blue. I've got a curtain behind that I could pull out there and hide the TV area. So, I mean, I could work there, but when I sat these down, I thought, man, that's cool. Like, that's a really neat spot. Yeah, I kind of like the framing of the piano with the bench right there. The lighting is really pretty. It's kind of side lit. I could always swing my camera around this way if I wanted to get a bit more dimension on that. So I think I'm gonna work here today. So let me get this area cleaned up and we'll get in and do some photos and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. Okay, so I've closed the piano, taken the books down. I don't know how much of this I'm going to show or not in the photo. I feel like I'm gonna get really close again. I guess I just wanted to point out the reason I picked this spot. I really like how beat up this area is. I think it's really cool and interesting. And I mean, the bench is a disaster. But if you look at it from like here, like that's kind of cool. Right? And with this one poking out in the background, that's kind of interesting. It gives it a bit of something. And the reflective surface is really cool too. Like you can see better with this lighter one, but you can play with reflections a little bit if you set your item onto something that will show those. So the reason that like tabletop or countertop photos are great for products, I mean, obviously, you're not crawling around on the floor, although to be fair, I am crawling around on the floor, but my subject is not down on the floor. So what that lets us do is show a little bit of height in what we're shooting. You can get down right at ground level with this and you can show how tall it is or isn't. I mean, these are all quite shallow, but how neat would it be to stack a few of them? Go this way, and then we'll put the light one up there, and then maybe one of these blue guys right up on top. So if I did something like that, maybe I wouldn't do 4. Like this right here, I would shoot this. I think this is kind of a neat angle. The handles are all a little bit weird. It's kind of got a little something interesting. And what I might do, the light one on the bottom so I get more of that reflection. Yeah, I think that's neat. So what I'm seeing now, which you might also be getting if you're using a smartphone, this is really bright. Like this is quite overexposed because the nature of photography is to make everything one middle ground color. Like it just wants everything to be 15% gray. So this is quite a bit darker in real life than I'm seeing on this video. So that's something that you can correct in post-processing, or with most cameras or phones, you have the ability to adjust that exposure as you go. And so I'm just going to pull this down to what I'm seeing as I sit here in the living room. That's what I'm seeing. It's quite a bit darker. Here comes the dog. Yep. Hi. What's up, kitten? Yes, hello. So it's a fair bit darker. Don't be afraid to do that as you shoot, or like I said, you can leave it, and you can always do that in your post-processing. So when you're playing with it, Georgia, that's distracting. Can you leave, honey? Come on, get out, yep, get out. Good girl, good girl. So you're looking for the same types of things with the light as you were looking for with the patio door. Now I happen to have a very large window in my living room. You can do this same thing with a small window. It doesn't have to be a big light source. You may just need to be closer to it, or you may need to move this bench over towards it, or you may need to put a cardboard box on top of a chair to get up to the point that you need to get the light doing what you want. And what you want, it overexposed again. What you want is this same light over to dark. You can see the shape of it. This little highlight in here is cool. You can see how all those ridges are lighting up. It's just it's a really dynamic picture. It's not just a boring flat photo. And so to contrast this, I'm just going to close my blind on the window as much as I can here and show you this. So that is much less interesting than the other one. By opening this and creating a strong side light, you just get way more stuff. And play with your placement. Have some stuff in the background. Like, it doesn't have to be a single item setup. You can do some of this in the back, and let's flip one of these over so you can see the bottom is that dark clay. And if you angle this without getting my sewing kit in the background, like, do something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. The front bowl is clearly the subject still. All that background stuff is just background stuff. Sorry, I'm taking pictures as I go this time because I didn't yesterday, and that was foolish of me. Another thing that you might want to try, and it's going to be tricky with these bowls because they're so shallow. Maybe this one will do it. You can try propping things up on their sides. Oh, I have a trick for this. Hang on. Okay, this is my trick. So, because I have a child, I have a plethora of Play-Doh and Plasticine options kicking around my house. And granted, you wouldn't want to stick this stuff onto anything precious. It'll stain paper with the oils that are in it. Sometimes the color will come off on things. But what you can do is stick it on the corner of the item like that, and then you just sort of push down, and that guy's gonna stand up now with the magic of Plasticine. So if I look at the back of it here, yep, pretty magical. So if you wanted to get a cross light of the inside, or you wanted to create a sort of peeking in photo, you could do something like that. Or if you wanted to stack these guys around it and have one upright, like, I would do that shot. And I will do that shot. Okay, what else do I need to talk about here? I think one thing that I haven't, like, it's sort of overcast today. We did have sun coming in this window earlier. Let's assume for a second that I have hot sunlight streaming in through this window. And I want to get this shot, but I'm getting like weird angular light patterns across it. On one hand, you can work with those. If you don't want to work with those, you can always hang something in front of the window. So I have taped pillowcases up to the window. I've taped a bed sheet up over the window, and all it does is it just diffuses that light so that everything coming in is this nice muted light that's easier to control than like super hot direct sunlight. So that's always an option. The other option is move around the room, move out of the directional sunlight, move away from it a couple of feet and shoot there. We're also going to talk, probably not in this video, I'll talk in another video about staging a space to do photos. Like, this is all just found areas in my house. We could very easily pin a piece of, or tape a piece of cardstock up here or Bristol board and sort of swoop that down and under these pieces. If you're one of those people that really loves that clean, you know, there's nothing busy going on, it's just, well, I mean, this is fairly clean, but if you want that stark white background, I know my husband prefers a really neutral, plain background, and so I typically shoot, when I'm shooting these bowls for sale on his website, I pull the curtains off my bedroom wall and I hang the curtains up and I shoot them on that. I light the bowls and I shoot them right on top of the curtains. So there's tons of stuff around your house that you can use. Don't be afraid to do that, but I will set that up in another video and show some of that for you. I think I'm just gonna move over and maybe do a couple shots on the bench with a plant or two in the background, just so you can see how that can create a little interest. It's all fairly similar information though. So just let me set that up and then we'll do a few more shots. Okay, so after playing with this for a few minutes, I realized that I wanna shoot this vertically. So I'm not entirely sure how this is going to play out when I put the video together, so bear with me. I'm going to shoot this one vertically and see what comes out of it. Okay, here goes. So because these plants are still quite a bit higher than this bowl here, I mean, I've taken that big one out because it's way too high, but these ones still are quite a bit higher than this. It makes more sense to go vertically. And then if you're putting this on Instagram or, you know, someplace that has a square sort of a cropping that they're going to want you to use, you can always, I mean, you can chop the bottom and top off that one easily. But what I want to do is really make the focal point my bowl. So I'm going to get this exposure tuned down just a little. Now you can see by bringing the bowl closer, I've put those little succulents out of focus. Like this is in focus and this is in focus, but all of this stuff is fluffy. That is ideal if you are going to have something in the background. If you have this right here and you're focusing on everything, there's a lot going on there, but by just pulling it away, not that far, you can kind of force, yeah, like that. So you can see all the detail in there and still have those plants sort of fluffing around in the background. I like that. And the same thing, this side light is highlighting all of the textures in here. You've got some neat ring highlights in there and in there. So it's still doing nice things. And what I could even do is take my delightful little helper and pop him under there. And all that does is just raises it up that much more so that the inside of the bowl is sort of presented to the camera. It's not, you know, I'm not constantly trying to lift the camera up and over it. It just does the work for me. Those are a couple of other little helpful fun things. And I mean, just look at the amount of time I've spent on this. I'm literally just playing right now. You can do top-down stuff here. You can switch out the plants. You can take out the plants. If I take these plants out, I have a plain blue bench as a backdrop. And if I angle this right, yeah, like this line and that line, they kind of frame the bowl in an interesting way. I don't mind that, just as it stands. So I'm gonna pause this again. Please hold. Okay, I had to stand up. My knees were killing me. So, I mean, if you guys take anything away from this, you saw how long I fussed around with that and played and moved and tilted. It's going to take you a little bit of time, and let it. I mean, it's all just play. It's not like you're gonna run out of space on your phone or you're gonna run out of film. Spend some time, follow the light around your house. My husband has gotten very good at chasing light around the house. He looks for weird reflections now, and he looks for sunlight coming in, and he looks for all of that stuff. So give it some time, walk around your house. A really good thing you can do is just get a camera and look at yourself and just turn and watch how that light, like, come on. Look how it's going across my face. Like, this is the worst. Backlighting is tough. But look at this. Like, you can stand in the middle of one room and find the angle. I'm getting dizzy. You can find the angle that you want to use and then set your stuff up and shoot it all in one spot if you want. It doesn't have to be a bunch of different places. Throw a piece of fabric down, or throw a piece of interesting paper down, or put a pillow down and set your things on a pillow if you want to do that. There's very few rules to this. So as long as you have good lighting, the rest of it, I mean, it's just extra. So that's it. That's what I have today. I'm gonna do a staged setup in another video with and without an artificial light source, because I know that sometimes it's 11 o'clock at night and you need to get a good photo of something. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna find the crappiest desk lamp that we have in the house, and I'll try to get a good photo with that, just to prove that it's possible. Okay, so again, if it's helpful, great. I hope you sell lots of stuff. If it's not helpful, sorry, you've wasted some time today. But yeah, I do hope that you are taking something out of this. So bye.